decision of the board are considered final. If there's anyone agree by the decision of this board, they may appeal to circuit court within 15 days of the board's decision. Also, no permits or license can be issued until that 15-day appeal period has expired and no appeal has been filed. For information regarding the board's decision or an appeal to circuit court, the Office of Land Use Administration will serve as your contact. As you come to the podium, I ask that you give us your name and address so we can record it as a matter of record. And if you will, if you got an electronic device, you turn it off at this time so we don't have any disturbance. Any comments or questions have to be addressed to the board, not to somebody in the audience or staff. All right, and we have a quorum. We have 6 members here. It takes 5 to approve a motion, either in favor or in opposition, and we'll have sufficient votes for that. First, let me do the roll call. Mr. Golden?
Here.
Mr. Milling?
Here.
Mr. Burrows?
Here.
Mr. Metcalf?
Here.
Mr. Coleman?
Here.
Mr. Davis? Currently absent. And I'm William Guess. So we have 6 out of the 7 members present. And we have Mr. Anderson here as the legal advisor and attorney for the board. All right, and we'll go in order. And for a matter of record, the first application, 6020, 3149, 1870, Dow Knight Rotor Sledge LLC, which is the 501, 581 Cochran Causeway, has been withdrawn. So if anyone's here for that one, okay. So we'll move on to the next application, which is application 6266, 5535, Paul Carpenter and Davis Architecture. Okay, if you'll please come down to the podium. Your name and address, sir.
My name is Paul Davis. My office is at 61 St. Joseph Street, Suite 902, Mobile.
Okay, your particular application has been recommended for approval by the staff. Have you reviewed the conditions
Yes.
and recommendations? Okay.
We're agreeable to those.
And it also mentions a protection, a buffer between the residential abutted zone.
Yes. I believe that'd probably be a privacy fence, and we're agreeable to that because that would be great for the daycare as well.
Okay. Well, would that also include vegetative buffer?
It could include a vegetative buffer, but due to the limited space that they have on site, looking at their site plan, they would not have sufficient room on the property to put in a 10-foot wide vegetative buffer, so a 6-foot high wooden privacy fence will be adequate and would be compliant.
Okay, any questions of the board for the applicant? Okay. Anyone in the audience either in favor or opposition to this application today? Okay, we have none for the record. This is for the daycare, correct? I do have a question, though. I'm kind of curious how we're getting recommendation for approval for 17 parking spaces. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But they're proposing 18 workers? Where are they all going to park?
Yeah, so that's the parking spaces that they've got will be there, and 17 would be the most spaces we got. 18 would be the most workers. It depends on the number of classrooms she has, and we haven't really gotten that far in the project.
So when somebody drops off their child, where do they park?
We've got on the drawing, that is the drop-off lane, and we did it there so that the cars could stack if it's raining and it takes somebody a minute to get out, so the cars will circle behind the building.
Okay. One other question. Normally daycares have some kind of exterior playground area. Is there anything?
Yes, and this is where we had to get a little creative with the site. So the drop-off area, the gates will close after a certain time, and that will be used as their outdoor playground.
Okay. All right. Once again, any questions or comments from the board? All right, staff recommends approval, subject to conditions regarding the would not be contrary to public interest. Special conditions do exist in preventing the site from complying. spirit of the chapter shall be observed, and substantial justice shall be done to the surrounding neighborhood by granting variance. And then the barrier, which would be the, I guess, the privacy fence.
Sure. That's agreeable.
Okay. Chair, entertain a motion.
So move, Mr. Chair, to approve subject to condition, except for staff.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Have a motion with a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, application 62, 67, 61, 13, 58, 95, 57, 97, 57, 26, New Hope Baptist Church. Yes, sir. If you'll come down and give us your name and address, sir.
My name is Angelo Archibald, 264 South Cedar Street, Mobile, 36602.
Okay, and this is a tree planting variance to amend a previously approved variance.
Correct.
And let's see if there's anything else here. Staff recommends approval, subject to conditions listed. Have you seen those? Have you seen the conditions from staff?
I have not seen those conditions.
Can you share those, please?
Well, they are on the agenda that you have.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, are you in agreement with those conditions?
Well, based on where we are located, and based on the number of trees that we have looked at, it's just going to be way too many trees, even though it was reduced, and we appreciate the reduction. Nevertheless, it's still going to be way too many trees for us in that particular area. We only have 2 islands in that church area, and in those 2 islands, if you try to put 25 trees, it's just not going to work. You're going to have roots going everywhere. You're going to tear up the parking lot, and it's going to be, I mean, we don't mind the reduction again. It's just that we just feel that if you put it in there, it'll be problems down the road, especially with all
I
of
kind of
that.
suspect, based on the staff's review, that they're in agreement that the tree planting variance is appropriate. But one of the conditions that they have recommended is that donation to the Mobile Tree Commission in compliance with all other municipal codes. Have you seen that part of it?
I have seen that.
Okay, are you in agreement with that?
We really don't want to just donate trees at this particular time because we're still trying to finish up everything. I'd rather, anything that we need to put in there, we don't mind doing that. But when you start talking about donating the rest of the trees, you're talking about still maybe 20 trees times, what, $300-400 or whatever. So.
Yeah, I think the way it reads is, it says, limited to the tree planting plan as submitted, donation of $5,000 to the Mobile Tree Commission and full compliance with all municipal codes and ordinances.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a substantial commitment. That's the reason why I'm asking you.
Right, right. And yeah, we don't want to commit to that.
Okay, all right. Any questions of the board for the applicant? Okay, is there anyone else in the audience that wishes?
Mr. Chairman, can I just
Yes.
make a clarification real quick? Sir, the recommendation is that y'all would not donate trees, but you would actually, in lieu of planting the additional trees, that y'all would make a donation of $5,000 to the Tree Commission. And that's based on a formula of, I think, what, $200 a tree times the 25 trees. So I just want to make sure that y'all were clear on that.
Your name and address, sir.
My name is Albert Walker. My address is 501 Maryland Street, Mobile, Alabama, 36603. Now, did I hear you clear when you said $5,000 a tree? Did I understand
No,
you said
total.
that? Pardon me?
It's a total commitment of $5,000 to the Tree Commission
Okay,
is what's recommended.
okay.
Would you like to add something, sir?
No. Can you waive that?
Well,
You
it
said it-
depends on this board whether or not we make that a condition. If you wish to make a comment, if you'll give us your name and address, sir, as well.
Glenn Clark, 555 Elmira Street. And, well, I would agree to doing that.
Okay, well, who's the primary representative here today?
We already got it.
He's the pastor.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay,
So the pastor has the last say.
because the look on their face was a little different.
So if you divide it by 3, it's really not going to be that much.
So,
And I just wanted to make sure that you were clear that if you look at the agenda, that's the city's recommendation that we're being asked to consider today. And I just wanted to make sure, based on your comments, it sounded like maybe there was some confusion. I just want to make sure y'all understood what the city's recommendation is.
Okay. Let me ask the question now.
yes,
The amount of trees we're talking about planting now versus the donation of trees, we had to donate toward the trees for another project. Is that, those trees gonna be used for another project that we donate?
if,
Any tree, any amount of money donated to the Mobile Tree Commission Tree Bank is used for a public project like planting of trees in the right-of-way along the streets throughout Mobile, or perhaps in public parks. So it's not going to go to any other private property development. It's only going to go to a planting of a tree on a public space or in the public right-of-way. And the Tree Commission makes the decision of where those trees get planted.
Is there a set price? I noticed you said $5,000. Is there a reason for the $5,000?
The Mobile Tree Commission has a set price of $200 per tree.
Okay.
So that is why, due to the fact that, your property requires a total of 53 trees between your main church site here and then the parking lot that you have across the street, you already had some of the trees waived along Live Oak here. And then what you see on this drawing, these large circles here represent the overstory trees that will be planted. So one live oak here, 4 live oaks here, and then 4 live oaks here. And then these smaller pink circles represent where you will plant the understory trees, which in this case would be crepe myrtles. All the other trees that are shown in this picture would not be planted based on your request.
Okay. But we still would like, if we could possibly eliminate some more trees, because looking at this drawing here, it look like an island.
okay. If you'll give me a second,
You want to be able to
please.
see the church for the trees.
Do we have any photos?
I don't know that there are any photos of the property. But since the advertisement for their request was to waive a certain amount of trees, you cannot, I don't believe, waive additional trees without re-advertising.
Well, I'm not looking to waive necessarily other trees, but I wanted to see actually how much vegetation was on site.
Well, the site was, I believe, completely cleared when they were building the church. Here's showing the church under construction. You can see maybe with this aerial photo that there really are no existing trees on this property. So they're coming back in, having to plant trees to meet the compliance requirements of the zoning ordinance. And they feel that, planting the required number perhaps would be inappropriate based on the amount of landscape area they have available.
Right. That's correct.
Actually, there are 2 files.
The right number.
Okay, any questions of the board for the applicant? I could see if you had some trees already on this site,
Right.
how that could potentially impact this board's decision, but you have nothing the way it appears.
We had on the front end. Yeah,
No, we're not bucking the problem that we have to have.
you're right.
We just,
We had none prior.
Right.
so many
That's right.
now that's gonna be added to the project.
Okay. All right. Anyone in the audience that wishes to speak in favor of this application that has not, as of yet, given a statement? How about anyone in opposition? Okay, we have none for the record. All right, you gentlemen have a seat for a minute. Okay, staff recommended approval, subject to those conditions. The primary representative has stated he would be in agreement with the conditions. So Chair, entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the variance
Okay, subject to the
with the
conditions.
following conditions as listed. That the construction of the protection buffer, can't read that, where the site abuts residentially zoned property to comply with that particular line.
Okay, so limited to the tree planting and the donation to the tree bank for number 3. Okay,
Yeah,
do
we'll go with that.
okay, and do I have a second?
You have a second.
Or any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, 6268 Fort Conde Restoration Venture. Your name and address, sir?
Nicholas Holmes, 257 North Conception Street.
All right, and staff has recommended your application, variance request for approval, subject to conditions as well. Have you reviewed those?
Yes,
Okay, and you're in agreement?
yes.
Okay, any questions of the board for the applicant? And this all fits within the downtown development guidelines?
Well, that's why they're here. The downtown development district regulations would require that on this new addition here, they would have to have some amount of windows provided, since this is where the new construction is occurring. And due to the fact that the proposed use of that area is a kitchen, it is also slightly set back from the right-of-way a little bit. It's an addition in this area back here. They had to come before the board in order to get approval to not put in the window, because based on the interior layout of the kitchen, it would cause problems with perhaps health department issues as well as food prep and cleanup areas.
Okay, any questions of the board for the applicant? Okay, anyone in the audience in favor of this application? Anyone in opposition today? Okay, staff recommended approval subject to the conditions. And it appears there would be a potential conflict with the Mobile County Health Department and I suspect layout of the kitchen for that matter. If they had to put windows in, that would restrict where they could put appliances and equipment. And there's no substantial injustice to the surrounding neighborhood by granting it. Mr. Milling, you've been involved with the downtown development. Is this anything that you would consider contrary?
It seems to make sense to me.
Okay. All right. Chair, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve subject to staff recommendations.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, application 6269, 6184, 6023, 5672, 5608. And this is 1252 Government Street. All right, your names and addresses, please.
John Edward McGee, 1814 Dolphin Street.
Demetrius James, 1814 Dolphin Street.
Okay. And your application has also been recommended for approval by staff. Have you seen the conditions?
We have.
And are you in agreement with those conditions?
No, we would like to
Okay,
discuss.
you want to tell us what you would like to do then?
That's why we're
Please
here.
proceed.
We're very excited that the first two items were recommended for approval. The one that I think
Well,
we're
let's put
here.
it this way, we look at them individually.
Okay,
So conditions and hardship are all individually determined by the board, so that has no bearing on your application. So please proceed.
So I think the one that we're here to talk about is the request to serve wine and beer.
Let's see here. Thought we jumped, we're on number 5. Condition number 3. Oh, I see. Well, actually, we're having to consider all this. I mean, use and tree planting landscape variance to amend a previously approved variance for allow a retail and wholesale bakery with light distribution with no tree planting or landscaping in a B1 buffer business district. The zoning ordinance requires a minimum of B3 in a community business district for retail wholesale bakery with light distribution, full compliance with tree and planting and landscape area requirements. So all that applies, correct?
Right, but their concern is the staff recommended condition of no alcohol sales, and that is based on a previous use at this location that had that same condition.
Okay. All right, so proceed. I want to make sure we're clear on what we're discussing.
Okay. Do we need to discuss the first ones or just move on to the one?
Are you in agreement with the first?
We are in agreement
Okay.
with the first.
So you're only concerned about the spirits and,
Yes, okay. So let me tell you a little bit about who we are and the reason why we would like to be able to serve wine and beer. So we are a dedicated gluten-free bakery and the only one in this region. And we have just moved our production from our opening facility in Spanish Fort to our home city of Mobile. And we opened as distribution, so that's why we would like to continue that. It was an earlier one. But we are a very unique bakery. We are 100% gluten-free, and we have individuals coming from all over. And we're also excited to be part of the Old Dauphin Way and Oakley Garden District neighborhoods. And we are unique in that we offer gluten-free baked goods, and we pair them with organic coffees, organic teas, and we soon will be introducing some savory items, whether it be flatbreads, soups, and other things, and charcuterie plates, etc. So we would like to be able to continue what we're doing with our savory goods and offer an aperitif with a cake for dessert after individuals have left other restaurants and come to us for dessert, or gluten-free wine, gluten-free beer with our flatbreads and things like that. I don't know if any of you are gluten-free or know anyone who is gluten-free, but individuals who are gluten-free are usually gluten-free for a variety of reasons, usually health reasons, and most restaurants do not offer very much in terms of gluten-free, and especially gluten-free baked goods. And so that's why we're excited to be able to offer pairings. And it's a unique offering in not just Mobile, but in the entire region. No one else around is able to do what we do. So we would love to be able to, we're not planning to sell bottles of wine or open a bar or anything like that. It's just offering a glass of wine with a dessert, or a gluten-free beer with a savory dish, or any combination of the above.
all right, is there any questions of the board for the applicant?
Just for clarification's sake, y'all are in agreement with all the other conditions that staff has recommended?
Yes.
Okay, the only one is just the sale of alcohol, right?
Right.
Okay.
And we feel that that is not a unusual or strange request, being that, you know, Chaleur Coffee, which is open at Sims and Dolphin Street, does the same thing. So they have coffee and wine, where we have coffee, baked goods, and we would like to offer wine as well.
And we've had a lot of feedback from the neighborhood, and I think there are a few neighbors here who come to speak, but with the closing of Kitchen on George, I think the neighborhood, everyone who's been into our bakery to see us, they've expressed they're very excited about us being there, and they've expressed that they really would love to have the option of wine and beer because they no longer have that option in the neighborhood.
I have a question, Chair.
Yeah, proceed.
But probably few, with the previous restaurant, were they allowed to sell on premise alcohol?
Well, the previous use, Janelli's did not sell alcohol to my knowledge. And prior to that, they had a restriction on the sale of alcohol, so they were not allowed to do that.
Okay.
The reference to the coffee shop on Dolphin Street at Sims Avenue, there had been a history of a restaurant there with alcohol sales as part of the restaurant. So that makes that site different from this site. But we were just continuing the previous no alcohol sales recommendation.
So if we approve, we could limit it to the sale, the use of on premise without taking it out.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions of the applicant? Okay, you said there's some individuals in the audience that's in favor? Okay, we got a whole group of you. We'll take a couple of you in addition to our applicants. Thank you, gentlemen. If you'll have a seat for a minute. Your name and
Hi.
address, please.
Julie Flott, and I live at 1209 Government Street, directly across the street from Kunkel's Bakery. I would love to be able to walk across the street and have a glass of wine with my children, husband, dog, and this is the type of environment that would be ideal for that. It's a very upscale bakery. We want to be able to go have a salad or all that kind of stuff at night. It would be just a welcome addition, and we don't want them to be limited financially. And I think that would handicap them if they're not able to do that. So we want them, and we'd love to be able to have wine and beer. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Your name and address?
Brenda Bolton, 310 West Street. Thank you for having me. I want to begin by saying that on Thursday evening, these owners voluntarily came to a District 2 meeting that had about 50 attendees at VIA. And the attendees were largely from Old Dolphin Way because it was at VIA, but there were some, I was there were some others from other historic districts. They presented their plan. They included their wish to serve gluten-free beer and wine pairings. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. And when they took questions from the audience, when they finished, they got a round of applause, and at the end of the meeting and in the hallways afterwards, I heard no opposition to the idea and a lot of excitement about their plan. So I understand the staff's position, and I appreciate their attention to consistency with prior uses. Normally, we would probably want that exact decision. But I think that this is a specialized case. First of all, the product that they're selling is a specialized product. And the similar kinds of districts to B1, like historic business, residential business, HBRB, transitional business, they all allow establishments that do sell beer and wine, not other kinds of liquor, but beer and wine. And I think this sort of falls in that category, even though this is a different zone. But the reasoning and the logic behind it is the same, I believe. And this is not a health food product, but celiac disease and gluten intolerance is a very definite and growing medical condition among our population in this country. I think about 1% are true celiac patients, but the much greater number are gluten intolerant. And these are people who are not able to enjoy a normalized dining out beer and wine experience. And so this would be very unique. I think it would be a unique addition to the Midtown area and to Government Street. It's obviously too specialized to turn into, your average bar hangout, which we would object to. And because of its uniqueness and because of the approach they've taken and the work they've done with neighbors all along, so far as I can tell, everyone is in favor of it. And appreciates the staff's support to help us watch out for things that could be detrimental, but we just feel in this case that we would like for the board to allow them to approve their full application, including the gluten-free beer. You know, most beer is made from gluten products, and so there are very few beers that are gluten-free, so folks that have this intolerance can't just go out and have a beer with their friends because, you know, establishments are very likely not to offer what they need. So I think it would be a real addition to Midtown. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We got time for another, if you'd like to add anything additional. Your name and address, please.
Teresa Tessner, 272 Park Terrace in the Linecoff Historic District. I support the Gunkels application, including the sales of gluten-free beer and wine. Residents in the area are excited about the opening of this business. Casual cafe-type businesses that respect the fabric of our historic districts and the Government Street corridor are always on the list of businesses our neighborhood residents would like to see developed in the area. Gunkel's concept was recently presented at the District 2 meeting and was well received. None of those present expressed any opposition to their proposed operation and offerings. The cafe/bakery concept proposed by Gunkel's is an appropriate low-impact business that would integrate well with the Government Street corridor and adjoining historic districts. Their location between other businesses, along with their proposed operations procedures to limit impact to the residential properties behind the location, will prevent negative impact on the historic districts and residential neighbors surrounding this location. The Gunkel's Cafe Bakery will not only distribute their products, but will provide a cafe-style business that the surrounding neighborhoods have consistently expressed a desire for. I can see their cafe concept becoming a neighborhood destination as area residents stop in for bakery items as they are out walking, or folks sit down to have something from the menu with a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. Neighborhood businesses like this increase the value of the surroundings by increasing walkability, and they provide high quality and sought-after goods and services to the residents. I hope you will approve Gunkel's application. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any questions of the board so far, any of the neighbors? Gentlemen, I have some questions for you, if you'll come back to the podium for a minute. The alcohol and wine that you'll service, that'll be the only alcohol and wine will be gluten-free? Or will you sell other varieties?
No, that's correct, and I'd love to speak to that, actually. We are a dedicated gluten-free facility, and what that means is every ingredient, every item that is brought into our facility has to be gluten-free for the safety of our customers. And when we were preparing the site, the building, for us to move our production over from our production facility in Spanish Fort, we actually went through a very detailed deglutening process. We brought in Service Master, who spent about 2 weeks cleaning the building. And when I say cleaning, I mean cleaning every surface, ceiling to floor, inside and outside of every appliance, and then cleaning the air duct and using air scrubbers for 2 weeks to remove any potential gluten in the building. So that's something that we did to prepare the building to move our production. So it's 100% gluten-free, dedicated gluten-free facility, and only gluten-free wines and beers will be sold.
Okay, the other question is, and I didn't see it in the drawings or anything because it says an existing building. Layout is just tables and chairs. Is there a bar?
So there is no bar.
So your focus is primarily on the food products more so than the liquor?
Right. So the building
Correct.
itself, if you're looking at the building, the floor plan, and which was ideal for us, 1/4 of the building is basically our storefront. The other 3/4 of the building, which we were needing, was kitchen for production. So our seating, there's only 9 seats inside and 24 on the exterior. So what we are looking to do is to really activate, and have a place for the neighbors to come. We've spoken to the bicycle project, oh my goodness, Jennifer, Delta Bike Project. We've spoken with her so that we can get the team of bicyclists to meet there and start their runs there. So we really want to be a part of the community and have our space be used for community type things.
So to further answer your question, there is no bar. When you enter, there's our service counter with our baked goods, our pour-over stations for coffee and tea, and our register. And then...
I've seen pictures.
And then the interior seating or stools with the existing restaurant had bar height counter to sit and eat, and we've kept the same size. We just changed the counters out for an aesthetic look that goes with our branding. So we have not changed the layout in any way, and there is no bar.
Okay. Any questions, once again, for the applicant?
Where'd the name come from?
Gluten-free uncles.
So I'll spin around and see the back of our T-shirt. The G is in white and gluten-free is in white. The connection, gluten-free uncles.
Okay.
Gotcha, thanks.
All right. I think we've had a fairly good representation from the neighborhood. Is there anyone in opposition here? I didn't think so. All right. So your only objection to the staff's conditions was regarding the alcohol sales. Is that correct? So the hours and everything else you're in agreement with?
It's our understanding that the hours were approved from 7 to 11. Is my memory correct?
It says hours of operation limited 7 to 11, Sunday through Thursday, and 7 to 12 on Friday and Saturday.
That's correct.
Yes. We're in agreement.
And then provisions regarding the dumpster pickup, and then deliveries 9 to 6, light to be site-specific, no overflow to residential, and in compliance with all other municipal codes and ordinance. Okay?
Yes.
All right, comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
move for approval subject to the staff recommendations with the exception of the deletion of recommendation 5 regarding alcohol.
3.
3, I'm sorry.
Okay. I have a motion to approve with approval for the alcohol sales as requested by the applicant. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
good luck to y'all.
Thank you.
Okay. You need to take we're going to take a quick recess. Allow everyone to
Y'all go have a drink now.
depart. All right, good luck to you. It'll be just a minute or two. Well, it looks like they got about a dozen customers already, so. She was here before. She's been here before. I've seen her here before. Right.
They can always change, though, so, you know.
Well, just don't let George get on to it too hard.
He will, he's been known to.
All right, we're going to reconvene. All right, application should say 6270, 5633, Cowles, Murphy, Glover, Associates, and Associates. This is 50552 Beauregard Street, correct?
Yep, that's right.
Okay, your name and address, sir?
Patrick Garstecki with Coles Murphy Glover, 457 St. Michael Street.
Okay, and we've had you all here before, because I know we allowed a variance for use, access, maneuvering, tree planting previously, correct? Mr. Hoffman?
That is correct. There was also, well, that was primarily for the testing facility that was placed on their east property line area. But yes, they have been in here before.
Okay, and the staff now recommends approval, subject to the conditions, and a donation to the tree bank as well. Have you?
Yes, we've seen them and we're in agreements with it.
Okay. All right. Any questions of the board for the applicant? And to save you a trip down here to the podium, I think you won't have anything to add to that, right? Okay.
He typically does.
All right. So, compliance, with the staff's recommendation to include obtaining a right-of-way permit and all other engineering requirements as required for the right-of-way. Land disturbance permit with permitting for the proposed site work. All right. The applicant's in agreement with staff's recommendations. Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, make a motion that we approve subject to staff recommendations.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all for your patience. All right, any other business today?
No, sir.
All right, any court cases we've got hanging out there?
We got several out there, none of them are really pending. Number one, when they given that was withdrawn, the court ruled in the city's favor on the above ground oil storage tank ordinance, that all the variances and planning approvals and not variances, but the planning approval and PUD that was given, granted that owner was proper, and the judge ruled on summary judgment in the city's favor. We've got a few, probably 3 or 4 other ones that are on appeal, but nothing's really going on with those. One in Washington Square area by the Civic Center. Couple other ones, but no real big ones that would draw anybody's attention.
Hey, Doug?
Yes, sir.
When, just historically, when appeals are made, does the court typically rule in our favor or in the appellate's? Or is it just here and there, just toss up?
It's a toss-up, yeah. I mean, when I was representing developers, there were some I won and some I lost. You know, you just, both on zoning and variance, you just,
Right.
it's a case-by-case analysis.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. Meeting adjourned.